Welcome back to the Mental Path Podcast. I'm Dr. Gretchen, a psychiatrist and psychotherapist passionate about providing evidence-based mental health strategies that work in the real world, not just in your doctor's office. Remember, you don't need a diagnosis or be in crisis to learn practical mental health habits. My approach combines medical science and psychology with practical tools that help you understand your brain and behavior, creating small, sustainable changes that gradually transform how you experience your daily life. With the right knowledge and techniques, you can build a mental health habit that fits your unique circumstances and helps you thrive. Let's get out of that constant survival mode. In the last episode, we explored the fascinating connection between blood pressure and mental health. How what's happening in your body directly impacts what's happening in your mind and vice versa. Today, we're shifting our focus to something many of you have messaged me about, perfectionism. Ever notice how you might delay starting something until conditions are just right? Or maybe you've finished a project but hesitate to share it because it doesn't feel good enough yet. If you're nodding right now, this episode is for you. We're discussing the trap of perfectionism, but I promise this isn't another nobody's perfect talk that leaves you with an Instagram quote or zero practical tools. Instead, we'll explore the neuroscience behind why your brain craves perfection, why that craving depletes your energy, and specific strategies to break free from this pattern. If you're someone who's built their identity around getting things right, who feels anxious when things aren't just so, or who puts off projects until you can do them flawlessly, I'm so glad you're here. Let's transform how you think about growth and success together. First, clarify what perfectionism actually means because this varies for different people. For some, perfectionism means a flawless, no mistakes experience or quick cakewalk outcomes. This is the type of thinking we're addressing today, the kind that's not helpful and frankly not even realistic. Here's what's interesting. If your definition of perfectionism means learning from errors, welcoming risks, not comparing yourself to others, and taking action anyway, that's actually fine. That approach could be considered healthy and growth-oriented. The problem is with the first definition. That kind of high-pressure perfectionism does not mean that's just your personality or that you were born that way. It's a stress response. It's that your nervous system has learned that flawless performance equals safety. When we examine what happens in your brain, this unhealthy perfectionism activates your amygdala, your brain's alarm center, keeping you in a subtle but constant state of vigilance. You're constantly scanning for errors, judgment, and anything that could go wrong. This vigilance makes you over-focus on potential failures and under-recognize actual progress. Your brain isn't solving problems anymore, it's just trying to avoid pain. Ask yourself, do you feel mentally exhausted even when you haven't done enough? Do you find yourself second-guessing even your wins? Do you put things off, not because you're lazy, but because you're afraid of getting them wrong? These aren't signs that you need to try harder. They're signs that your brain is stuck in protection mode. So how do we get unstuck? It starts with getting clear about what really matters to you. Here's something I tell myself and people I help in clinic all the time. If you don't clarify your values and set your own goals, your brain will default to people-pleasing and approval-seeking, and that's a perfectionism trap. When I decided to pursue medical school, I had to get really clear about my values. Was I pursuing this path because it aligned with what mattered to me? Connection, health, purpose, making a difference, or was I chasing some external marker of success? For you, consider asking yourself, why are you pursuing that promotion, that degree, that relationship, that body? Does it align with your values, or does it satisfy some external definition of success? When you get clear on what matters to you, not social media, not your boss, not that person from high school you're still trying to impress. Then you can lay out realistic stepping stones to meaningful goals. And here's the crucial part. Growth is not a straight path. When we clarify our values, we recognize that the challenges and yes, the mistakes are actually helping us identify improvements and adjustments that keep us aligned. Without this clarity, perfectionism becomes a moving target. You're constantly chasing, never arriving, and feeling more exhausted with each attempt. The alternative? Defining success on your own terms and recognizing progress along the way. Let's talk about how your brain actually learns. Your brain doesn't learn by achieving perfection. Instead, it learns through feedback, particularly the kind that can be uncomfortable at first. I'm not trying to deliver a motivational speech here. I just want to highlight that your brain is naturally designed to grow and improve through these experiences. When you make a mistake, your brain's error detection system fires, creating new neural pathways. These pathways help you adjust and improve. If you never make mistakes, you're just repeating what you already know how to do perfectly. For example, studying is most effective when you concentrate on the questions you struggle with instead of just repeating the ones you already know. By focusing on your mistakes, you can identify and fill in the gaps in your understanding, which ultimately helps you improve. Practicing the challenging material will lead to better results. Think about it. Would you rather have a surgeon who's never made a mistake or one who's made them, learned from them, and developed better techniques as a result? The issue isn't a desire to produce excellent work. It's perfectionism that holds you back from starting, completing, and sharing your projects. You might be afraid of receiving feedback that could help you improve. I often notice this tendency in many high-achieving clients. They choose not to try at all rather than risk attempting something and possibly failing. This mindset is like saying you prefer not to learn rather than learn from real experiences. Each time you take a risk and encounter a setback, you're actually strengthening your resilience, which is essential for long-term success. One thing that really fuels perfectionism is comparison. It's important to be cautious with social media and any social spaces that don't lift you up. This includes your work environment, friend groups, and even family dynamics that make you feel like you're not enough. When I first started creating online videos and this podcast, I found myself comparing sometimes my work to others who had been doing it for years. I spent hours stressing over how to present myself instead of just diving in and creating. That kind of comparison was more paralyzing than helpful. Instead of comparing yourself, try admiring those you look up to. Instead of shrinking back, study what they do. Your role models should inspire you to strategize, not fill you with self-doubt. This is especially crucial for those of us who are naturally ambitious. Ambition itself isn't the problem. The issue comes when we let others define what success means for us. Remember, what you see online is just a highlight reel. It doesn't show the painful failures and the messy beginnings that everyone goes through. We all have them, even those who seem perfect. When we constantly measure ourselves against others' highlight reels, it can take a toll on us physically and mentally. So let's shift our focus from comparison to inspiration. Let's go, do that. Here's something we don't talk about enough. Perfectionism thrives in an exhausted body. Remember our mental health framework. We need to address physiology, psychology, and external social factors to truly take care of our thoughts and emotions. Right now, we're focusing on that crucial physiological piece. When your physical health is compromised, when you're not sleeping enough, not moving enough, not taking breaks, your brain's stress systems go into overdrive. You're more likely to ruminate, overwork, and get stuck in perfectionistic patterns. This isn't fluffy self-care advice. This is neurophysiology. Your nervous system needs safety to take risks, try new things, and recover from mistakes. So yes, taking care of your body, sleep, hydration, movement, these aren't things you do when you have time for or when you remember. They're non-negotiable mental health tools that help you regulate your nervous system and create the conditions for healthy growth. When working with patients or individuals stuck in perfectionistic cycles, we always check in with the body first. How's your sleep? When was the last time you moved or exercised? Have you taken a real break? The answers often reveal why perfectionism has such a powerful grip. Want to know a secret? I almost didn't start this podcast. I had all the excuses. I needed better equipment, more preparation, the perfect content calendar, more training. But those weren't the real reasons. I was afraid it wouldn't be good enough. So I set a rule for myself. Once I had the basics, a mic, a quiet space, and something worth saying, I would start. I'd learn from each episode. I'd improve as I went. And that's exactly what happened. That's what's happening here. Each episode taught me something. Each piece of feedback helped me refine my approach. If I had waited for perfect, you wouldn't be listening to this right now. This applies to so many areas of life. In my medical practice, I made mistakes with scheduling and had to adjust. In motherhood, there were days when I felt completely overwhelmed as I balanced work and family. None of these were perfect transitions. All of them involved learning, adjusting, sometimes failing, and always growing. Done and growing will always be stuck in overthinking. This is true whether you're starting a business, raising children, changing careers, or simply trying something new in your daily routine. Here are the habits I use with my patients and what I actually practice myself to break free from perfectionistic patterns. First, journaling. Track your progress, not just your end results. Write down what you're learning, not just what you're achieving. This gives your brain concrete evidence that you're growing, even when things aren't perfect. For example, after client sessions, I don't just note what went well. I also note what I learned and how I might approach similar situations differently next time. Second, talk to your people. Say your fears out loud to someone who gets it. Perfectionism thrives in isolation. Break that isolation and be sure you surround yourself with people who support you, who will give you honest feedback because they want you to achieve your goals and be happy. These are the people who will both challenge you and champion you. Before launching my practice, I shared my fears with my husband, who reminded me that my purpose was to help people, not to have a flawless website. Third, set a finish line before you start. Write down exactly what done looks like before your perfectionism has a chance to move the target. This anchors you, and remember that as you go on any journey, this done or outcome evolves as you learn new things and as you pivot when needed. It's okay to revise your outcome as you learn through the process. The key difference is that you're consciously adjusting your goal based on new information, not moving the target because of perfectionism. Fourth, use the 80% rule. When something's about 80% good, it's good enough to move forward. This helps me so much. This approach transformed my content creation process. When a script or post feels about 80% ready, I publish it rather than tweaking it endlessly. A better rule I've adopted personally is that as long as my idea and content are authentic and I know it can help at least one person, I go for it. This simple mindset shift takes the focus off flawlessness and puts it where it belongs, on making a difference. Finally, review your major milestones regularly. I do this quarterly. I have completed medical school, career transitions, opening my clinic, motherhood, moving to Hawaii, starting this podcast, starting a YouTube channel, the list goes on. Celebration is essential. It shows your brain that imperfect progress still counts as meaningful progress. When I look back at photos from opening day of my clinic, I don't focus on what could have been better. I celebrate that I took the leap. Sometimes I watch my early videos online and celebrate the progress I've made. Instead of cringing at my early content, I see it as evidence of my growth journey. Let's rethink what perfect actually means for you. Flawless? No. Perfect is alignment with your values. Perfect is resilience. Perfect is the messy, brave pursuit of something meaningful. I want to leave you with something super simple that cuts through all the complexity. When you feel that perfectionism creeping in, just ask yourself these questions. How am I really doing? Am I progressing? How am I really feeling? Do I feel good about things right now? These honest check-ins bypass the perfectionistic brain and connect you with what's actually happening. They're simple but surprisingly powerful. I want you to try something this week. Pick one area where you've been perfectionistic. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Do the thing imperfectly on purpose. By that, I mean deliberately creating something without editing, polishing, or perfecting it. Just put it out there in its raw form. This isn't about being careless. It's about breaking the perfectionism cycle by facing your fear of imperfection head on. Taking action takes care of fear, and an honest look at your situation helps you plan deliberate action. This might mean writing that email draft without obsessively editing every word, recording a video in one take, or submitting a project when it's good enough rather than flawless. Don't get me wrong, I love doing things with excellence, and I do have high standards. I take tremendous pride in everything that I do. This exercise isn't about lowering your standards. It's about distinguishing between a healthy striving for quality and the paralyzing effects of perfectionism. The key is to notice what happens when you let go of perfection and focus instead on progress and purpose. After you've done it, ask yourself, did I survive? Did I learn something? Could I do it slightly better next time? You'll likely find that the consequences weren't nearly as catastrophic as your perfectionism led you to believe. As you practice embracing imperfection this week, I'd love to hear how this resonates with you. Screenshot this episode, share your done not perfect moment, and tag me on my Instagram profile or comment on my YouTube channel. And don't miss our next episode, where we'll build on this perfectionism insights to tackle another common challenge, the inner critic. We'll explore practical thought strategies for transforming self-doubt into self-compassion and turning that harsh inner voice into a supportive mental coach. If you've struggled with negative self-talk, you won't want to miss it. Before I go, I'm excited to share that I'm putting out a new short, on-demand, online course soon all about mental health and self-care check-ins, where I'll guide you through practical daily tools to monitor and improve your mental well-being. Something that can really elevate how you take care of yourself, and I'm making it super simple and doable for you. If you've enjoyed these perfectionism strategies and want more structured support to implement them in your daily life, this course is designed for you. Make sure to follow me on Instagram or subscribe to my channel in YouTube to be the first to know when enrollment opens. When you take care of your mind, you create space for everything that truly matters. You gain better control of your life. This is Dr. Gretchen, and you've been listening to the Mental Path Podcast. Take care, and I will see you next week.